Many of you have heard me say when talking about political parties, a pox on both their houses. Now, someone at a recent conference disagreed with me, so I thought I would take some time and ponder my position on those parties. So we'll do that next on the Constitution Study.
There's one thing you have to know wherever you make your stand. Came from a long through line of everyday Americans.
Well, hello there, everyday Americans. Paul Engel here with the Constitution Study, where we read and study the Constitution and we teach the rising generation to be free. I'm glad you could join me. As always, I'm going to encourage you to go to the website, constitutionstudy.com. It's where you'll find everything that's going on with the Constitution Study. I've got some new goodies being set up. I got some new systems going into place. Hopefully there'll be news on the book. It is currently going through layout and cover design as we speak. It's also where you can get in touch with me. You can ask me a question. I've had several of those. You can challenge what I'm saying. You can find articles to share. You can also find me on Facebook, YouTube, all those places. I'm going to have some interesting questions coming up that I hope you'll participate in. It's also where you can, buy my books, buy my classes, support the work that I'm doing. Everything starts right there. So I've tried to say all along that, I'm not perfect. And, just because I say something doesn't mean it's the gospel truth. So I like when somebody at a recent conference challenged something I said. In fact, they not only challenged me after my speaking session, they came up to the booth afterwards to have a discussion. It was a good discussion. It was a lively discussion. And I'm glad they did. And I encourage others to do so as well, because it's by challenging our preconceived notions that we learn. So what was it that I said that this person disagreed with? Well, like I said, when it comes to political parties, a pox on all their houses. Now, he seemed to believe that this meant I thought there was a moral equivalent between the parties. And, well, I could certainly understand that, especially in the contents we were discussing. But the question is, are parties good or are parties bad? And, well, no, there is not a moral equivalence. The problem keeps coming down to, where is our focus? Is our focus a party? Is our focus a person? Or is my focus an action? And that's where I think I differ from a lot of people. So let me start right off. I agree with General George Washington, President George Washington. Parties are a problem. Parties lead to dissension, they lead to bad government, they lead to revenge between the parties, they eventually lead to tyranny and even possibly foreign rule. So yeah, when it comes to parties, a pox on both their houses. But this person did make a point, and I think it's worth repeating here, and I'm not using his name because I don't have his permission, but it's not all the positions that the parties hold are morally equivalent. And I'll agree with that. I think abortion, except to save the life of the mother, is a taking of an innocent life. Therefore, it is a violation of natural law. It is a violation of the most basic tenets of a society, and that is to preserve life. So I agree. One party is definitely pro-choice, one a little squishier. Now, I don't say pro-life, but they're more pro-life than the other. And in that case, I understand it. Now, he also brought up several situations where members of certain parties move to get certain legislation in place. Again, is there a difference between those? Absolutely. Groups that are pushing pro-life agendas, that are pushing pro-rights agendas versus anti-gun agendas, yes. But that's the point I think he and I kept missing on. See, to me, it's not the question of the party. It's not even entirely the question of the person. It's the question of the position. See, when we were told for years that we had to put the Republicans in charge of Congress to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. So we gave them the House. They said, no, we need the Senate as well. So we gave them the Senate. They said, well, the House and the Senate doesn't make any difference. The president will veto it, so we have to have a Republican president. So we gave them a Republican legislature and a Republican president, and the Republicans did nothing. Now, the Affordable Care Act is blatantly unconstitutional. It should have been shot down in the courts. It should have never seen the light of day, but it does. And the Republican Party has done nothing to fix it. So I can't trust the party. Even though they ran on the platform of getting rid of the Affordable Care Act, I can't trust them. And remember, it was a Republican Congress and a Republican president that gave us the Patriot Act, which infringes on all of our rights to be secure in our person's papers and effects. So I can't trust the party. Well, if it's not the party, see, he was pointing at individuals, specific people that held good positions. That's true. But I'm not going to disagree with a person's position simply because they have the wrong letter after their name. If a Democrat holds a good position or a Republican holds a good position, I'm supporting the position. See, it's not about people either. It's not about party and it's not about people. It's about individual positions. So if you take a party like the Democratic Party, which is very much pushing towards socialism and government control and tyranny and taking away our right to protect ourselves, making us dependent on the state, and you have an individual who may agree with them 75% of the time, but he takes a position or she takes a position that is correct, I'm going to support that position. That doesn't mean we should never consider party, because you have to look at party leadership. So this is where I think, this person made a point. If I'm looking at a person and they have predominantly good positions, and their positions are constitutional and I can support them, but that person is running in a party that the leadership of which has avowed to destroy rights, well, you see, then his position on his party membership is wrong, from my point of view. And I can't support that person. So I hope the person that brought that question up, who brought that challenge up, I hope he watches this, because I wanted to make sure that he understood. I agree with some of what he's saying, but my limitations is I don't focus on party, I don't focus on person, I focus on position for a reason. And I think if we worried less about which party a person was a member of and more about the positions they took, well, then maybe we would have a lot better government. Maybe the concerns that Washington had about the natural inclinations of party for revenge, maybe they wouldn't be quite so dramatic. Doesn't mean parties don't have a place. And I just haven't seen a party yet that I would trust with anything. And in fact, people who are placing party membership above the positions they're taking are the exact reason we have evil. They're telling us we have to choose the lesser of two evils. Whether that lesser of two evils is a Democrat or Republican, they're telling us hold your nose and vote for the lesser of two evils, and we get evil. But if I look at a candidate and I look at all of the positions they take, then I simply look at their party membership as one of the positions they take. And you have somebody who tells me they are pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, pro-capitalism and free enterprise, but they're a member of a party that is avowedly against all those things, well, that's just another example of a politician lying to me. And I have to wonder the character of a person that would support an organization that is diametrically opposed to everything he or she is telling me. So that's what I'm pondering when it comes to political parties. And again, I hope this person watches this. Comment, let me, what do you think? Have I missed the mark somewhere? Really, should we place a person's party affiliation as something other than a position they take? And if so, why? And with that, head over to the website, follow me on Facebook, YouTube, comment, ask questions. I'd love to hear ideas. And if this person that asked this question wants to follow up, get in touch, let me know. Because I understand it is an important point, and I don't want to simply dismiss it. But I still say a pox on both their houses. Because when I look at what the parties have done in aggregate, neither of them have secured my rights. Some have infringed more in one way, some have infringed more in another way, but the purpose they have exhibited is not to protect my rights, but to maintain their power. So if you thought that was interesting, hopefully you'll continue watching, and I'll catch you the next time on the Constitution.
You have to know wherever you you make your stand. Came from a long